In a world where shoulder pads reigned supreme, where every TV show had a saxophone solo, and where every automaker desperately wanted a slice of the yuppie pie, one luxury brand made a decision so bold, so risky, so poorly thought out, it became a cautionary tale whispered in boardrooms for decades to come. Welcome to Auto Chatter, where facts, opinion, speculation will be given. Give a like and subscribe if you agree, or even if you don't. One thing some famous people have taught me is any publicity is better than none at all. Anyway, this is the story of the Cadillac Cimarron, or as I like to call it, the fancy Chevy nobody asked for. Let's set the scene. It's the late 70s. America is recovering from gas crisis, disco fever, and the psychological scars left by Grease 2. The once mighty American V8 is now a wheezing mess thanks to emission controls, and compact imports are invading faster than E.T. searching for home. Cadillac, a brand known for cars longer than your Aunt Debbie's divorce story, was in a bit of an identity crisis. Many folks didn't want boats anymore. They wanted sporty Euro sedans like BMWs, Audis, and Mercedes. GM's solution? Take a compact economy car, slap some leather on it, call it a Caddy. The first choice was turning a larger Citation into a Caddy, but there was no extra factory floor space to crank out even more clones of that. So Plan B it is. Enter the 1982 Cadillac Cimarron, developed in just 10 months. Yep, you heard that right. The gestation period of this car was shorter than a season of Knight Rider. It was based on GM's front-wheel drive J-body platform, the same one as the Chevy Cavalier, Pontiac J2000, later Sunbird, Olds Forenza, and Buick Skyhawk. Essentially, GM went full house. Same house, different furniture. But this house had a brass nameplate that said Cimarron by Cadillac, because they were too ashamed to call it just Cadillac Cimarron at first. Under the hood, a 1.8-liter four-cylinder making 88 horsepower. Yep, 88 horses, just like the speed needed to time travel in a DeLorean, except you wouldn't be going anywhere fast in this. Cadillac tried to convince you this was a European-style sports sedan, but in reality, it was the automotive equivalent of putting a tuxedo on a hamster and calling it James Bond. At least the ride was considered good for the class. It came standard with leather seats, air conditioning, and an analog clock that somehow always read 1982. Price tag? Around $12,082. That's over $38,000 today. For comparison, a nicely appointed Cavalier was around $7,000 then. So what did your extra $5,000 get you? Slightly better paint, leather, air conditioning, full gauges, 4-speed manual, or optional 3-speed auto, and the privilege of being laughed at by your BMW driving coworker named Chad. For '83, Cadillac gives in and finally calls it a Cadillac Cimarron. The engine was upgraded to a 2-liter with now 92 horsepower. The grille's new. Now a 5-speed manual is standard. Welcome to the future. At a time, a lowly Toyota Tercel had 5 forward gears available too. Slight tweaks to trim and options, but no real visual differences. You could add an optional sunroof, so you could let your dignity escape through the top. Meanwhile, Flashdance was in theaters, and people were asking, what a feeling. Driving this thing wasn't it. Sales was about 31,722. For '84, there was minor styling changes to the grille, tail lamps, and interior fabrics. Base engine remains the 2-liter 4-cylinder. There's now a gold trim package available in case Mr. T was shopping for one. Sales was around 27,463. For 1985, finally the optional 2.8-liter V6 appears, making 112 horsepower. That's basically a space shuttle by Cimarron standards. The styling gets some tweaks so it looks less like a Cavalier finally. Revised suspension for slightly less floaty handling. Interior dash and cluster was updated. Now you can see the disappointment in crystal clear gauges. Sales was around 20,354 for 1985. For '86, an optional Delco Bose stereo was added. Perfect for blasting Van Halen while pretending your Cimarron was a 3 Series. Minor improvements to steering and ride. New alloy wheels, because nothing polishes a turd like chrome-looking aluminum. Better sound insulation and revised trim packages. Still smelled like regret, though. Meanwhile, Top Gun had people feeling the need for speed. Too bad the Cimarron still couldn't outrun a Schwinn. Sales dropped to about 14,983. For 1987, there was another facelift. New grille, revised taillights, better insulation, and upgraded stereo. V6 now standard. Woo! Base 4-cylinder was discontinued. Optional leather-wrapped steering wheel and shift knob for when you wanted soft disappointment. Cadillac attempts to market as sporty and elegant. America says, no thanks, I'll just get a Honda Accord. Sales fall even more to 10,492. If the Cimarron had a theme song this year, it'd be Alone by Heart, because no one was buying it anymore. 1988 would be its final year, and there was only minor trim changes. Most buyers had figured out by now they could just get a Cavalier at a much lower price and keep their dignity. Cadillac quietly pulled the plug and nobody even blinked. In music, Rick Astley promised to never give you up. However, Cadillac decided the Cimarron wouldn't make it to the 90s and no replacement was planned. They did take another shot later with a rebadged Opel called a Catera. That's for another chatter. Now, let's be honest. The Cimarron's biggest contribution to automotive history was the lesson it taught. Don't insult your customers' intelligence. It tarnished Cadillac's image with a generation of young buyers. People who wanted Euro luxury just bought actual European cars. Meanwhile, the Japanese were starting to get their entry-level luxury car game on too. Caddy pressed their luck and got double whammied. Executives at GM later referred to the Cimarron as the mistake that nearly destroyed Cadillac. Harsh? Sure. Accurate? Also yes. They had about a third of the U.S. luxury car market when the 80s started. It's nowhere near that today. Not all of it was this car's fault, as there was quite a few Caddy blunders in the early 80s that hurt the brand too. Diesels, 864 engines, and a smaller Seville no one wanted, etc. Cimarron remains a punchline in car culture, a cautionary tale, a reminder that no amount of leather can disguise a compact economy car that costs almost twice what it should. Anyway, this has been my Cimarron chatter, and I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like to let me know, or better yet, comment. Until next time, I'll be keeping the headlights on for you, and chatter out.